y'all, TeannaBReading here, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. We're back with a review today, and we're going to be reviewing Forever, which is the new show on Netflix that was created by Mara Bakakil. It is reimagined from the Judy Blume book of the same title. And we're gonna get into our review today. Before I start, if y'all watching me in 4K, don't talk about my skin, because I'm sensitive right now. It's the summer, it's warm months. Again, not summertime, but it's the warm months. And my hot month rash is in full effect on my face. So leave me alone if you watch this in 4K. Be nice to me. Anywho, let's get into this review. All right. So the movie, Teanna, it's a show. It's an 8-episode series on Netflix. So far, it only has 1 season. There has been no word on if it was just meant to be 1 season or if there are other seasons coming. But the main characters are Justin and Keisha. Justin they're both black, first of all. And Justin is neurodivergent. He is said to have ADHD in the show. As somebody who has a son with autism, it did give a little bit of on the spectrum as well. But in the show, it's just stated that he has ADHD, so I am going to roll with that. We're not putting disabilities on people or, other challenges on people that they may not be facing. But he grew up in a very successful, well-off black family, and is in his junior year of high school when when the show opens up, when the show starts. He also plays on his high school basketball team. Keisha I wouldn't say she's in like the hood in LA. She doesn't live in the more rich area that Justin lives in, but she's not in the slums, if that makes sense. She looks like she lives in like a traditional middle class neighborhood maybe, and she lives with her single mom, and she goes to an all girls maybe a Catholic school, and is a track star. And she is, as she lets us know in the show, she is ranked. Anyways, so yeah, that's their backgrounds real quick. Now let's go into the show. They are invited to a New Year's party. It's New Year's Eve of 2017. They're going into 2018, and the party is being thrown by Keisha's best friend, Chloe, who is a white girl who goes to Chloe's previous high school. And Chloe is also in some kind of a situationship with a guy named Darius, who is best friends with Justin. They go to the party. Well, Keisha goes to the party. Justin at first has some pushback from his parents. Sidebar, his father is played by Wood Harris. I love Wood Harris. Wood Harris, y'all don't know this, is one of my favorite actors. He does not get the credit he deserves. But yeah, he's played by Wood Harris. And his mom is kind of hesitant to him going to the party, just because, she is dealing with the stress, I would say, of trying to do her best job at raising a black man. And that's one of the things that stuck out to me about this show, is the difference in the way the mom Dawn parents Justin versus the way Eric parent, that's the dad, who is played by Will Harris, Eric parents Justin. And Eric is very much so, he has to stand on his own. We got to let him learn. We got to let him be a man. He has to bump his head. He has to make mistakes. And Dawn is like, no, we need to protect him at all costs before he is forced to make those mistakes. He can learn later. Like, he doesn't need to learn if we could prevent him from having to learn those hard lessons. And what was interesting about that is me and my husband, even though my son's only 6, we have those same conversations. And I think the fact that my son is also neurodivergent plays into those conversations as well, because we talk about this, and I think I've said this on this channel before. Everybody, when they see my baby, they're, oh my God, he's so cute. He's such a sweetie. He's so cute. He's adorable. And my husband and I talk about all the time, because my son is kind of tall. He's not super tall, but he's considered to be tall. And my husband has a very tall family. And so we know our son is more than likely going to continue to grow and be tall. And we talk about this all the time, how he's cute at 6, but we know the reality is he has another 6 years maybe until he's not that cute little black boy to the world anymore. And we talk about that all the time, and how my husband isn't afraid because he has experienced life as a black man thus far, and growing and learning and bumping his head and stumbling and falling and making it home every night. And like, he's experienced that journey. And I talk about how fearful it makes me. And so we in our household kind of have that same, for lack of a better term, back and forth in terms of what the safety net for a black boy should be. And even in our son only being 6, I see that difference in us, where I'm like, no, don't let him, no, he doesn't need to, I want to keep him away from, and just like everyday challenges that he experiences. And my husband is like, babe, he has to go through it, babe, he has to figure it out, babe, don't, like, or if my son is asking for something at home, like, there are moments where my husband's like, no, let him do it. And I'm like almost biting my nails to be like, but I want to help him. And I think that fear Dawn has, you can feel it. Especially if you're a parent with a son, you can, especially because our son is also neurodivergent. And as much as you think, because my son, he is also, a little spicy. And so that fear is real, that, if he says the wrong thing to somebody's not going to think it's funny. If he says that it just felt very palpable in the show. And as somebody who is experiencing it on a smaller scale, because my child is at home, he's not a 16, 17-year-old boy roaming the world. But just the way there's that difference between Dawn and Eric felt very real and very palpable and very, I don't know, you can almost feel, I don't want to say anxiety, but Dawn's anxiety for Justin when you watch each episode. I know a lot of people on social media did not like her, but as someone who is a parent and as someone who has a child who has differences, and you do your best to try to figure out what you can do for them to make sure those differences don't put them further behind the curve than they will already be just because they're black. It's a very real feeling, and it's a very scary place to be in. So I actually enjoyed Dawn's character. I enjoyed the dynamic between Dawn and Eric. Like I said, it felt very real, and I enjoyed the fact that we were able to experience a Black family and a Black household that wasn't struggling, and that was the forefront of their story. It wasn't a situation where the parents were at odds. It wasn't a situation where there was this power dynamic in the relationship where you felt bad for one parent over the other parent, or it was just like a beautiful love story. And I honestly, I said this to my husband, if they do end up doing a season 2, I don't even care about Justin and Keisha. I would love to see how Dawn and Eric's relationship came to be. I would rather watch that, and it could be because I'm in my 30s, but I would rather watch that than another season of a young adult romance blossoming or developing or coming back together or changing or whatever. Anyways, I'm sorry, I'm a little long-winded. Eventually, Eric is like, he's going to the party, and Justin goes to the party. While he is there, he reconnects with Keisha, who is someone that he discovers went to elementary school with him. She remembered him at first sight. He did not remember her. But neither here nor there. They end up in a closet together, and they do the I think it was a closet. They do the New Year's kiss and end up going on a date the next day, where everything hits the fan. On their dates, they go to the movies. They go shopping. Justin buys her a bag with his Christmas money that he got from his grandma. They go to a ramen place. She hates the ramen. They end up going to get food from somewhere else that she prefers, I guess. And then they are walking on the street hand in hand. Darius and some other friends see them and are whispering like, ain't that the girl? Ain't that the girl? Justin doesn't know what's going on. But you see Keisha's face change, and you kind of almost see this look of despair on her face. They go into the movie theater. Keisha and Justin are sitting there. Keisha tries to give a little you know what to Justin. Justin freaks out because he's like, and he's basically, I hope you're not doing this, trying to do this because I bought something for you. And Keisha storms out of the movie theater, and she's basically like, I'm not a hoe. Did you say that? Did you say that because of the tape or the video? And he's like, I don't know what video you're talking about. I don't know what video you're talking about. I don't know what video you're talking about. And she tells him to lose her number, and she leaves. Right after this, I'm assuming his phone was on like do not disturb while he was on the date, because when she leaves and he pulls his phone out to call her, I think, he is bombarded with texts and whatnot from the friends that just walked past them outside. And they send him a video of Keisha performing that same act for who we find out is her ex-boyfriend. And one thing I did like about this show was Justin did not judge her for that, and was very like, I still like you. I still want to see where this goes. I still want to get to know you. I still want to date you. And I think that was very important to see, because I'm older than this movie. I did not go to high school in 2018 where the movie is mostly set. I went to high school and was finished in 2011. But I remember this stuff being a thing, and things like this between students happening on school grounds, and the girls were destroyed. And that traveled around the school. And not only did it travel around the school you went to, because everybody at your high school knew somebody at another high school, those kinds of things would make their rounds to the other high schools in that district. And it the boys are never in trouble. The boys are not the ones being pointed to and laughed at. It's always the girls. And so it was refreshing to see he did not look at her like, oh, she's disgusting. Oh my God, never mind. Oh, I can't believe I kissed her. Oh my God. It was just like, okay, she did something stupid with somebody she trusted when she was 16. And it was before me. What does that have to do with me? Like, I can tell that she's struggling with this. I'm going to help her through it the best way I can. But I like her, so, and I did enjoy that aspect. His friend Darius was kind of like, you need to leave her alone because she out there. And Justin was just like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm rocking with her. So that was a nice dynamic to see between the two of them. I did think it was interesting that Keisha did not tell her mom about it, and her mom never found out until she eventually tells her near the end of the show, when Justin's mom finds out about it and threatens to tell. But I guess I would say I don't know how she wouldn't find out. How uninvolved are you with your daughter's high school experience? But then again, maybe she wouldn't find out if her daughter isn't at like the neighborhood high school. Like, I feel like that's something that you would find out about if you are at the neighborhood high school, or if you are involved enough in your child's studies where you're at like PTA and things like that. You're at the conferences, parent-teacher conferences, you're at PTA meetings, you're at all the sporting events, and parents are coming up and sitting next to you like, hey girl. So maybe because her mom worked so many jobs, maybe that was not her reality. Anywho, moving on. After their first date, it's literally a back and forth of I'm blocking you, no, you blocking me. I think one thing that was, before I jump, eventually Christian, the ex-boyfriend who leaked the video, comes back around and he kind of tries to make amends with Keisha. I do not like that Keisha didn't want him to suffer. And I understand not wanting to report it to the police because that was something that you both decided to do. He did violate her, and I'm sorry. If you shouldn't send videos and pictures and whatnot or record stuff with partners. But if you do and you share that, he has that footage on his phone or she has that footage on her phone, and that footage gets out because they've decided to share it to other people, that's abuse. I'm sorry. I wanted something to happen to Christian. I don't know if I necessarily wanted him arrested. I don't know, but Keisha gave up a lot when that situation happened, and Christian just went on with his life, graduated high school, went on to Kansas to play basketball. He was a top recruit, and they kept saying how great he was. So it was alluded to that he was eventually going to go to the NBA and probably thrive. Like, this didn't stay in his career at all. Whereas Keisha completely had to withdraw from her high school that was paid for by scholarship and go to another high school that her mom had to break her back to afford. And everywhere she goes where people are knowing where other kids are about this tape, she is getting pointed at and laughed at. And Christian is just like, oh, I'm meeting with Nike trainers, I'm getting endorsements, I'm doing this. Like, he is just living his best life. I don't know what I wanted to happen to him, because at the end of the day, Keisha, she was still able to like obtain her real goals, which was graduating high school and getting a full ride to Howard University. She still obtained that goal. But I don't know. Something should have happened to Christian. I don't know what should have happened to Christian, but he got off too easy. Moving along. when Christian pops back up and decides he wants to try to win Keisha back, and Keisha's kind of going along with it because she hasn't told her mom what happened, and Justin sees their interaction and starts to cry. I think that's beautiful, that this show does a really good job of letting, sometimes Justin's feelings are big, and that's to be expected because we do find out that he is unmedicated. But aside from that, I like the fact that we see Justin cry on the show. I like the fact that we see him be overwhelmed by this newfound love that he's never experienced. I think a lot of times in romance, in young adult romances, you see that from the girl, whether they're black or white. I'm just saying in general, you see that from the girl. You see the girl sad, you see the girl fighting for the relationship, you see the girl crying, you see the girl sad, you see the girl being put through the ringer. And the boy is usually like, take it or leave it. You know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the movie, or at the end of the show, whatever, he's like, oh, I finally realized you're the one for me. And it's like, the girl been feeling like that the whole whatever, the whole show, whole movie. So I do like that we, from the very beginning, are shown, okay, no, Justin is in this as much as Keisha is. Justin wants her probably more than she wants him. And I also did like the fact, and a lot of people had a problem with Keisha because she was doing the back and forth with Christian. But I think those are the same people who do not realize how Christian, at the end of the day, was abusive and manipulative. And no matter what form of abuse or manipulation you were experiencing, Keisha made a point that apologies are powerful. When you go through trauma with someone or you are bonded with them, sometimes that apology feels like a lifeline. That apology feels like what you've been waiting for to just go back to where you were with them. And I kind of feel like that's, while Keisha was saying she was only befriending Christian so that her mom wouldn't be concerned about the relationship, I think that there was a bit of, I spent time with this person, I thought I was in love with this person, I did this thing with this person, and I feel like I owe them a chance to make it right. And that's something that's very true to teen life. That is very true to teen life, because a lot of people can remember you thinking an apology deserved another chance in whatever capacity the relationship is. And you don't realize until you start to get older, like, no, sometimes an apology is just an apology. Okay, you apologize, but I'm still moving on. Thanks for the apology, but I'm still leaving. Thanks for the apology, but I'm still deleting your number. You know, and I think that was where Keisha was with Christian. And even when her mom eventually finds out and is like, I want to press charges, and Keisha's like, I got the closure I wanted from him. He didn't give you anything. He said he was sorry. He texted Tammy and said, hey, leave Keisha alone. He invited you to one Nike workout and y'all went to prom together. But we didn't see Christian repent for what he did. We did not see Christian ever, as much as we saw Instagram, there was not a moment where he was outing himself the way you were outed. So I don't think that she ever really got anything from Christian. But I think that she kind of, I don't know, kind of just threw him a lifeline. Because they are trauma bonded to a certain extent, even though he didn't experience any trauma because of that situation. But yes, my favorite thing was definitely her following him after he won his big game. Justin, I'm talking about, because it was just so awkward and cute. And I think I saw a lot of people saying that Justin's so awkward. It's so awkward. And it's like, it's supposed to be, you thought you were cool at 16, 17. You thought you were cool at 17. But a lot of us, if we think back to stuff, heck, I could think back to stuff I experienced in college and be like, oh my God, that's so cringy. But y'all thought y'all was cool in high school. Y'all were not as cool as y'all thought y'all were. A lot more y'all were more cringy than cool. Me included. What else? One thing I did not like was Keisha's father. Keisha's father is an absentee deadbeat. And I know she said, you're not a deadbeat. He is a deadbeat. If your mom has to work 2 jobs to afford tuition by herself, if she's penny pinching for you, if she is worried about rent increases for you, and she's the one breaking her back for a prom dress, your father is a deadbeat, and he's absent because he doesn't even live in the States. And I didn't like how he tried to embarrass Justin at Keisha's party. I know I'm all over the place in this review, but y'all go watch the show if y'all want detail by detail, okay? I didn't like how he tried to embarrass Justin at Keisha's party, because he was saying, oh, he doesn't know what he wants to do. He's lost. And I agree. But I think what people are forgetting, what the dad wasn't taking into account when he said that, is Justin does not come from a family of struggle the same way Keisha came from a family of struggle. Where Keisha knew, like, her only way out of the life she was living was college. Justin does not know that reality. Justin does not know not having. You know what I'm saying? Like, his father is a chef that owns his own restaurant and is about to own multiple restaurants by the end of the series, it looks like. His mom is some high-powered person in corporate America and went to Northwestern and Wharton, and it has these amazing connections that are strong enough to get him in college, into Northwestern, even though he probably doesn't deserve to be there. If his dream is music, as long as he's maintaining, he will be fine. Like, he's not in a situation where if one thing doesn't work out, his whole world is going to come tumbling down. It may feel like it because that's life as a teenager, but financially, he would be fine. And I didn't like how he tried to son a child, because for all that your daughter is, she is not that because of you. Like, she is not this strong, successful, headstrong, self-determined person because you did such a great job with her. And yet, there you are, loud and proud with the Howard gear on, like you've been there since the beginning, when you were doing nothing but texting her pictures back and forth. And I feel like I did appreciate him pulling her to the side to have a conversation with her about Justin, and about how you can't be in a relationship where somebody is making you their whole world, and how that is not a healthy relationship, and it is not a relationship that you should be in, especially as a teen. I did like the conversation he had with her to the side. I did not like him blasting Justin at the party for his daughter, because what was the point of embarrassing him just because he doesn't have life figured out at 18? Most people don't have life. People who go to college do not have life figured out at 18. And it's so funny. I was talking to my husband about this, and just as a parallel, I remember, should I tell my business? I remember being the teen who at one point thought the relationship I was in was my whole life, and that was gonna I just had to make that work. And it's so funny because now here I am in my 30s, and I've been with the same person for 11 years. We've been married for almost 4. And my husband is not my world. Like, my life does not revolve around my husband. My husband is not the center of my focus. You know what I mean? And I'm not the center of it. Like, we have our own hobbies. We have our own things that we want to do. We have our own goals. We have our own things that motivate us. We have like, and it's just so crazy because I remember being that young and feeling like whatever relationship I was in had to work. Like, I have to make this work. I have to sacrifice all this stuff to make this person happy. And now I'm in my 30s and I'm with a person where technically you're supposed to sacrifice. You're supposed to kind of bend a little bit in what you want to meet in the middle somewhere. And I do when it's required, but he nor I have ever in our relationship decided that your happiness is my job. My job is to make sure you're always happy with me. My job is to make sure that you're never upset with me. Like, but when you're a teenager, that feels like a good idea. It feels like a good idea because you are living through your inexperience. You are living through your naive version of what a relationship is. And I was so grateful to Justin figuring that out at the end, where he says, you know, maybe we're not supposed to be together forever. Maybe we're just supposed to be the people we remember forever. And that is true. One thing you never forget is the first person you fell in love with, and what they did for your life, and what they changed about you, and not what they changed about you, but what being in that relationship changed about you. What the heartbreak of it, the happiness of it, all of those things, how it shaped you as a person. You never forget the person that, whether intentionally or not, pushed you through that process, because that's usually what that first relationship does. And I like that he was the one who figured it out, because I feel like if she would have been the one to figure it out, it would have been probably more of an attack to Justin. Not because he felt like Keisha was attacking him, but because he was the one who was holding on. He was the one, they both loved each other, but he was the one who, he didn't have a plan outside of her. And I think the unfortunate thing is, I don't think it was his fault that he didn't have a plan outside of her. I think that at one point he goes to like a mixer for Northwestern after he gets in, and he goes with his mom because his mom is a Northwestern alum. And they're talking to the dean, and every time the dean asks Justin a question, his mom responds before he can. It's like he'll go to, and his mom will respond, and he just kind of looks at her and smiles and does like a fake laugh. And in that moment, you realize, like, oh, this is somebody who, this is not a situation where he's this bum who doesn't want for himself, which is also why I did not like what Keisha's father did. This is a situation where he has things he wants. He has things that he wants to accomplish for himself. He has things that he wants to be happy about or whatever. But his mom, out of love, out of fear, out of this is how I know how to give you the best shot at success and happiness, a black man in this world, hasn't given him space to figure out what it is that he wants to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate because Justin does live a life of wealth. And so that is ideally the best circumstance to be in to figure those things out, versus Keisha, where, and I remember feeling like this growing up, it's college or die. It's college or die. It's like, I don't have all this stuff. You know, Keisha doesn't have all these opportunities coming her way. College is what's going to give her those chances. College is what's going to give her those opportunities. Whatever the opportunities are, she only is probably going to reach them if she goes to school. Justin is not in that, he's not in that position. He has a life where he can have options, but he doesn't have a mom who has created space to give him those options. She and I get it. Like I said, I think she's operating out of fear. She's operating out of panic. She's operating out of this is all I know. And for a lot of Black parents, college is the road to the promised land. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with her feeling like that about her son. But in her doing that, it did create a space where when it's time for Justin to know what it is he wants to do with his life, he's never had space to figure that out, so he doesn't know. And I feel like he clings to Keisha because it's evident that's the one thing that in his life that was his choice. He didn't get to choose schools. He didn't get to choose a sport. He loves basketball, but it was kind of one of those things that he just grew up playing and gravitated to because it was something he enjoyed doing with his dad. It wasn't necessarily a choice. And one thing that I know, my son is only 6, and yes, children in general operate best when they have a routine, but there is so much about my son's routine that we have to find ways to limit because it is linked to his diagnosis. And I assume it may be the same for Justin. Where, like, for example, my son likes to shred paper. If he could, this whole home that we live, this whole apartment would be full of paper everywhere. Whatever paper he can get his hands on, books, important documents, mail, whatever, tissue, paper towel, napkins, whatever he can get his hands on would be all over this apartment. And we have to find ways to limit the times we give him paper and limit how much paper we give him in a day, limit what paper he can tear, limit where he can tear paper at and at what time. And I imagine in Justin's case, it may not be paper, but it may be that same dynamic of what you can do versus what you can't do, and what you can do that you want to do versus what you can't do that you want to do, if that makes sense. So I do think he finds himself clinging to Keisha, not only because he feels heard by her, but because in his life, at least from the show, what we see, that's the only thing in his life that he said, I want that. Everything else was orchestrated, it feels or appears, was orchestrated by his mom's protection. And I love the scene where they break up after Keisha goes to prom with Christian, and he tells his dad, like his dad is Eric is telling him about, you can't hide from love. Like, you need to reach out to her. She's here visiting. You need to reach out to her. And he's like, her love hurts. And that's and his dad is basically like, you gotta go, if you want to be a man, you gotta go through it and see where you end up on the other side. You can't hide from it. And that is so true for not even just men, for everybody. You can't hide from circumstances. You have to go through them and allow people to go through them. And if you're a parent, you have to trust that you've taught them enough and raised them and instilled enough in them for them to make the best decision that they can make in that situation. And I think that could be scary if it's your first relationship, absolutely. But I did like that his father was like trying to push him to choose, like trying to push him to stand in his truth and you know, own who he is and own his experiences. Don't let the experiences take hold of you. Like, walk into them and embrace them, and they either change you for the better or they change you for the worse. But either way it goes, you survive it, hopefully. Unfortunately, y'all, and they do break up. it does end on a naive note, which I thought was adorable. And it actually made me tear up a little bit when, when Keisha says, I'm going to miss you. And Justin's like, maybe in 10 years we'll be right for each other. That is a very naive way, teenage way of thinking. Like, you're so in love, you think we just need time. And I think both of them kind of, because they did have a back and forth relationship to a certain extent. I think both of them, Keisha doesn't say it. She kind of just laughs and like co-signs with the laugh when he says it. But I think that's a very naive way of thinking as well. That idea that we're not right for each other right now, but we're going to get it together and we're going to be right for each other. And it's like, no. More than likely in 10 years, y'all are going to be two completely different people that you do not know. You probably won't end up back together. But yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful series. I enjoy seeing Black love of any kind on screen. I enjoyed that their traumas that they may have been experiencing, or the trauma of growing up Black in America, was not the focus of the show. There were hints of it. You know, there's the fear of a police car behind Justin at one point. There is Keisha having a struggling mom. There is Keisha having an absent father. There is there's a scene where Keisha is standing at the bathroom sink, and when it cuts away, you almost feel like she's gonna look down at a pregnancy test, but I think she like looks down at her phone or something. So there is like the anxiety moments, you know, like the anxious moments appear, but I do like that they did a very good job at not leading us to those typical pathways. And it was just a beautiful show. I watched it twice. I watched it once by myself and one night. And then I rewatched it with my husband because I told him he needed to watch it. And while we watched it, we talked about like our relationships in high school and like what moments from the show we could relate to. And I think it was just a beautiful show. And I think it's a show that everybody can relate to, because at one point or another, everybody has that first love experience. And it either changes you for the better or it changes you for the worse. And you figure it out. You learn to move on. Either way, I do think that you guys should watch it. Mara Brock the Kill never misses. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that fun stuff down below. I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye.